Okay, our next speaker is speaking on the theme of this speaker jam. And the theme of the speaker jam, based on the traditions, is diversity is our strength. So I'll give you Bobby Bonds.
Hey, hey, hey! Yo, yo, yo! I'm gonna ask my name's Bobby. What a pleasure it is to be here with you in your company. The irony is, here we are in the shadow of all this stuff out there, right? And the diversity is our strength. And here we come from all places, doing all sorts of things, but yet we can arrive in one room and get what?
That's right.
And find the freedom. So we don't have to live like that. We don't have to be out there. We can be in this room and reside together, experience a lot of love, a lot of care, a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy, because each one of us, no matter the color of our skin, how tall we are, how chubby, how smart, it doesn't really matter. I get you, and you get me. And our struggles are the same, regardless of how much time we have, because, I'm wired that way. I'm wired that way. And I guess, I really want to try to focus in on this piece about diversity is our strength, because I feel like, yeah, do you mind if I roam around? I may end up in the back of the room, so. I want to talk about this diversity issue, because to me it represents what I learned most through the 12 steps. And what I got out of the 12 steps more than anything else was that it's better to understand than it is to be understood. I finally got that freedom. My life, because, I was a Hope to Die Dauphine, Caucasian kid shooting dope in the ghetto, right? I took a bus when I was 18 years old, right down the street, robbed a house in Albalon, stole a car, had jewelry in the back of the thing. They used to have these cops, these street police down Atlantic City. Remember the tray bags? The dirty old tray bags? Huh? Dang. That's why Atlantic City was hot. This was way before those big buildings were there. And in any event, sentenced 2 to 5, Yorville State Penitentiary. I got flopped and paroled over to Pennsylvania, my hometown. I live in Philly. And I got introduced to Narcotics Anonymous for the first time in 1973. Check this out. I wish I had stopped it. But 23 institutions later, I didn't get for 8 years. I picked up a lot of white chips. Relapse is a big part of my story. There's a difference between conditional surrender and unconditional surrender. Right? Check this out. Think about this. Conditional surrender means I hear what I want to hear, because I'm a control freak, man. I'm into managing everything. You dig? That's the way. If I'm not managing the chess table, I'm freaking the fuck out. If I'm not in control, that's my security and safety. Sure. Because as long as you're doing what I want you to do, when you start sliding and you want a little piece of yours, whoa, that's not my game. And that includes everybody. When I was a little kid, I would stand at the top of the stairs, and when I didn't get what I wanted, right, I would threaten to jump. And my grandmother would be at the bottom of the stairs, and she'd go, Marie, just give him what he wants, give him what he wants. And my mother would be at the top of the stairs going, jump. So this didn't happen overnight. You know, I carried that need to be in control and to manipulate to gain my safety and security. Right? I surrendered, you know, after 8 years of all that, right, of coming in and out of the program, and believe me, there was a lot of history, you know. I finally surrendered June 3rd, 1981. I've been clean 32 years. When I got to Narcotics Anonymous, this program was Lily Gilly White. Now, I shot dope in the ghetto. I lived in the ghetto, right? You know, because I was a Caucasian kid chasing the cookie. And I didn't quite understand where all the people that I used to get high with were. Be honest with you. Right? And matter of fact, because I had been around Narcotics Anonymous, and I didn't have a very pleasurable experience to me, it was pretty big. Like, I would come to meetings, and I don't say this proudly, but I would come to meetings and listen to a cat who never shot dope, and then twist his arm when he got outside in the parking lot, take him out to go cop and beat him. So I would, honey, that wasn't supposed to be funny, man. Don't anybody, that didn't work for me right away, no. And, you know, I didn't have a very good history. There wasn't, you know, like, people labeled me as watch out. Right? So when I finally surrendered, you know, it took an awful long time, you know, for people to really, right? So that piece of conditional surrendering versus unconditionally surrendering, see? Unconditionally surrendering means I get what I need to hear. And clearly, in those days in Narcotics Anonymous, you know, from the 70s through the early 80s, this program was not diverse at all. You know, mostly everybody that was coming to Narcotics Anonymous throughout, and it was, you know, there really wasn't any fellowship outside the United States. Matter of fact, Philadelphia is the second oldest structured area in the world. Did you know that? I mean, there's a lot of history, a lot of heritage in Philadelphia. And there was really no place. You went to the first East Coast Convention, there was only one cat, I don't want to mention his name, but who was black, who came around for a little while to 76. Actually, he came to Narcotics Anonymous till they built the casinos. And he got hooked into that, and it took him out. There was a dude by the name of Dennis. If you went to the World Convention, did a lot of you guys get a chance to go up to the World? Was that like the coolest thing, man? See 20,000 addicts just like you and I, right, roaming around the city of Philadelphia and doing what you and I do. You know, getting our breath back, right? Filling our heart, experiencing the love, right? Feeling the warmth and the affection that this place gives us. You know, fulfilling us and giving us the support we need to get another, right? In any event, so till Dennis, who spoke at the Old Timers meeting, and Alexander, who shipped down to Baltimore, until they came and stuck. And I'll tell you where I got my example from. In the late 70s, I remember there was a couple pagans that came around. And once one or two came in, then they started to flood in. I mean, we need that identification, those cultural relationships we have with each other. You know, that understanding of those nuances associated with culture and background. Because identification is what? The first thing a newcomer does. I mean, look at me. I'm an old motherfucker, man. So, you know, the idea that if we did not have this opportunity to grow and blossom and experience these things that each and every one of us bring to me and to you, we would be without it. Now, I'll be honest with you, it was pretty neat. My home group is called the 11th Step and Then Some. So if you're interested, you got to find out what the "and some" means, right?
What do you mean?
Well, you got to come and find out. It's at St. Joe's University on Sea Line Avenue on Wednesday night, 7:30. And then so 2 weeks ago, so we're at our home group meeting, and we do some goofy stuff at our home group. Like, for example, we don't have an anniversary night. We decided this year we're going to have an anniversary month. So one of our home group members said, we want, you know, let's have 2 women at our first, at the speaker meeting, the first night of the anniversary. You know, where she said it more like, let's have 2 women at the speaker. And only because of Narcotics Anonymous and, you know, kind of the tolerance and open-mindedness that program affords me, did I pause and say, you know, that's cool. So in any event, the chairperson, a dear woman by the name of Felicia, was chairing that night. So we had this woman by the name of Terry, and we had Arlene, who was also from Westville. Both of them had over 25 years. And Felicia at the front table of our anniversary night. 3 women, more than 25 years in recovery. And I'll tell you what, it may have been the best meeting I've been to in 10 years. And I don't even remember what they said. It was like I'm looking up there and all I kept thinking was how much this meant to every single woman in the room. How important that was. Because, you know, I see a lot of beautiful women in here, and every woman in Narcotics Anonymous is the most gorgeous woman in the world. I believe that, right, honey? You are beautiful. You are lovely. And we used to, because NA not only was lowly white, but it was also predominantly male. And women that came to Narcotics Anonymous were tortured, to be honest with you. You know, you figure, you know, 10, 15 women or men for every woman. It was hard for them to get clean. You know, but Terry and Arlene were examples of that strength. You know, they did the footwork. You know, they were showing us how that could happen. And I was like knocked out by their example. Not to mention that they were 3 black women. So, I guess, you know, I don't know. You know, the steps have afforded me, I come from a European family. My biases were minimal at best, and it wasn't really a struggle. You know, I was shooting dope in the ghetto. You know, if it weren't for, you know, Raymond Craig, who was a black dude, came out of Nam, hooked on dope, 6'4", he was a Marine, and anybody that messed with me had a mess with Ray. He was my boss. And so I would start meetings all over the place, and specifically to make certain that those whom I was using with, we would start meeting in those communities and hoping that they would commit. And sure enough, they did. And one of my old home groups, On the Right Track, I don't know if you've heard or been to that meeting, it's now on Tuesdays and Friday nights. And, for many, many, many years, I was the only white guy there. They used to call me the light-skinned dude. One night, and after a little while, once you get to know me, I mess around a little bit, even though there's seriousness in our business meetings, it drive me crazy. Because I'm not into that rigidity anymore. God's got this. Hey, guess what? News to Narcotics Anonymous. All right? News to Narcotics Anonymous. In spite of ourselves, right? And I've been around, I've been in world services, been in region, I've been in area. I've seen us in our own manipulative way do some really selfish things, right? In order to gain power and prestige through service work. And I believe in my mind, body, and soul, I know for a fact that God has it. So we may take a hit, we may have to take a step backward because of what we do, but don't you worry if you're in this seat, because nothing that I've ever seen occur at any level of services has ever or can ever affect my relationship with the newcomer. And because of that, I believe because of that, God has given that eternal gift to be able to share what is so sacred to us, and that is our strength, hope, and experience. So I'm at this business meeting over there, and I raise my hand to make a motion, and I say, I make a motion that at one time during the meeting, we have to let a white guy speak from the floor. And the chairperson looks up at me and she goes, Bobby, you don't even know any white people. Look, who are we? Right? When you cut to it, our being here and our being, I believe, anyway, is about overcoming our personal struggle so that I can share my love and care with you. I don't care about anything else. That's our purpose. That's my purpose, right? Before, it was funny because my wife, I came up with the whole crew, and they're all young guys, like 18, 19 years old, and I'll be turning 60 shortly. Too soon. I look pretty good though, don't I? Huh? Not bad. I don't even care anymore. But she goes to me, she says, because she knew the crew, I came down with 5 other guys. The oldest one is 28. The youngest one just turned 20. My wife says to me, she goes, why are you hanging out with these young guys? And I didn't really know what to say because, it's natural to me. Because I love what they're doing. That's why. So it doesn't matter if you're the sweet women sitting at the dais, Sherry. It doesn't matter what home group you're in and who is in that home group. And it doesn't certainly matter how young you are. what matters more than anything else is what you're doing. And as long as I'm teachable, you know, as long as I'm teachable, I can overlook those things because I can learn. I will learn from everybody I encounter. I remember when I first got clean, my sponsor said to me, God will put people in your life and he never finished that sentence to qualify who that might be. Right? So I'm not going to take that risk. You know, what impresses me is what you're doing because I'm inspired by that. I am inspired by the fact that you want this like I do. And what I see is that we're trying to grow. Because I know that the old me always equals. And I can't take the risk of ever stopping the change. You know? To me, that's the message in diversity. And that's what will continue to make Narcotics Anonymous flourish and be strong. Because of our acceptance, our tolerance, our empathy, our understanding of one another, regardless of what our history was. We say it first thing in our literature. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what or how much you use. All we care about is what are you going to do about your problem. Now it also says, and we hear this almost every meeting, and we all ought to think about this every day, because we're told that there's one thing more than anything else that'll defeat us in our recovery. It says that. One thing more than anything else. It doesn't say, here's the top 10 list, this is number 10. There's one thing more than anything else that'll defeat us in our recovery. And that is an indifference or intolerance towards spiritual principles. And I believe that if we don't expand our diversity, if we don't become accepting, if we can't look any soldier in the face, regardless of age or any other criteria, then we are not benefiting. This fellowship isn't benefiting. We need to be willing to reach out. We need to be willing to love. And most importantly, we need to be willing to care for each other. Because people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Wow. Isn't that the truth? Yes. So let's all tonight experience that love. Without prejudice or bias, without hurt or shame, but let's come together as one like we are because we're gifted and we love each other because that is in our heart. That's really what makes us who we are, Narcotics Anonymous. It's the love that we're able to afford each other. Thanks for letting me share. God bless you.
We have two more speakers. We have David and Karen from Baltimore. But our next meeting is a regular NA meeting. There's a Narcotics Anonymous meeting.
Thank you.